All right, guys, welcome back. Focus Encounters, the second half. First half was awesome. We're here with Derrick Culpepper of ActiveDadsRule.com. Definitely check it out when you get a chance because he is on the forefront of helping dads, be fathers, be men. He is really doing what God has called him to do. And I have to say, you need to do the same thing as well. But he's doing what God has called him to do, something that we were just talking about in the break of just being able to use what he didn't see to bring him to where he is now. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick back up with Pastor Spear taking you underneath his wings.
Pastor Spade.
Spade.
I'm
so sorry. Pastor
okay.
Spade.
That's all right, Pastor Spade. So Pastor Spade, man, he was like a father figure to me. Mm-hmm. He took me under his wing. Had no type of relationship, not cousins or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I think he had moved from Mississippi. I don't believe he wasn't from Longview. Okay. Like he moved to Longview, and so Pastor Spady saw something in me, mm-hmm. and I wasn't the only one, but I took it. I ain't gonna say took advantage of, but I accepted his role as a pastor and his role as trying to bring the community together. Mm-hmm. So when I talked about wholesomeness with Pastor Spady, mm-hmm. I saw that he was wholesome in his household, mm-hmm. as a pastor of the church. He was active in the community, and he was active in the school system, which is what Active Dads Rule is all about. Mm-hmm. A man being active, in his home. Mm-hmm. A man should change his home, his community, the school system. We should be men everywhere, and in those areas, we should mm-hmm. have an impact.
Yes, sir.
That's what I saw in Pastor Spade. Mm. That was some men I saw. They may have been active in one of those, but the other three may have suffered, mm-hmm. or there was no presence. Mm-hmm. Let me just say it that way.
Okay.
So with Pastor Spady, mm-hmm. I saw that because remember I told you when I was younger, mm-hmm. I had a desire to be something that I didn't really see, didn't see growing up, and that was to be a father there for my children and wholesome in those areas. Mm-hmm. I saw it in Pastor Spady. Mm. I saw it, man. I saw it, and I just knew as I was growing up then, I was probably about 16, right about 9th or 10th grade, about that time. Mm-hmm. And then, which is a real pivotal point for a young man, right there at that age when I'm starting mm-hmm. to learn to drive and have a little more independence from my mom and things like that. Mm-hmm. So Pastor Spady was a mentor to me. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, he would be the first full, wholesome one I would describe. That may not even be the right word, but in all of those areas he was involved. Because I saw him at the school. Oh, he came up, exactly what I'm saying. He came up there to talk to the football players, to talk to the coaches. Mm-hmm. Of course, I saw him at church, and then with the anti-drug rallies in the community, mm-hmm. where I think my mom even got that newspaper clipping where everybody's on bikes, all the kids, all the parents walking through these neighborhoods saying, this is a war against drugs in our community, which was very, very bad back in the early 90s. Yes. Crack epidemic mm-hmm. and all of that kind of stuff. Yes. It was really bad in East Texas. Mm-hmm. So he fought against it. And here I am on a bike with the rest of the church and with the community coming together to fight against something that was taking our men and our children by storm, which was drugs. And Pastor Spady stood up in Longview, Texas against that. And I saw that and wanted to be like that, be somebody that brings about change.
We didn't see that growing up for the most part. When fathers would be at work, they'd be at home, maybe at a Pee Wee League game. Yeah. But you didn't see that, as you were just talking about, you mm-hmm. wouldn't see them in all these other areas as well. But for a leader of the community to show up at the school, now that stands out a lot to me, because had I seen something like that, because I was going through the same thing of not having a dad for a season in my life, so mm-hmm. that identity crisis.
Right.
Who are you looking to bring you to the next level that you're about to transition into?
Right.
And just to speak about that, Derrick Jr., he's at that age of transition as well.
Right.
What are you seeing in him right now that you saw in yourself?
I'm seeing that he has a passion and a drive to succeed. Mm-hmm. My son works really hard. He's playing football now, mm-hmm. and he's working out every day. And I see him developing a work ethic that I saw myself developing mm-hmm. when I was about that age as well. Mm-hmm. Because if he can develop a work ethic like that's consistent, mm-hmm. which means he's working out every day. Yes. He's guarding his rest because he really wants to succeed. So I believe that will transfer over to other areas of his life.
That it will.
And this is something that I've pushed because I put a lot of responsibility on my son because I'm letting him know he's the foundation. He can't be stringy, man, when it comes to getting ready to lead a family, because there's going to be some situations that come about that are going to be tough. And you're going to have to stand up and go the other way. You're going to have to be the one to stand up and say, no, it's for me in my house. This is the way we go. But if he doesn't see me do that, then it can delay or discourage him from doing it. And honestly, I believe in our society, that's a lot of the problems with a lot of our boys. They're not seeing the man take charge. So they're reacting in a way that they've seen on TV, they've heard in the music, that they done read in some ungodly magazine, and that their responses are based off of that, based off what is the reality of things.
That's right.
Remember I mentioned earlier the Cosby Show. You seen Dr. Huxtable in the show? Times when he was talking to Rudy and talking to Theo, sitting down talking to his wife, having fun in the kitchen, singing, baby, all that stuff. Well, when you see our videos, me and Linda do a lot of videos that are unscripted. We just turn the camera on. Whatever comes out, come out. So I'm like, Lord, what is she going to say? Because whatever comes out, comes out. And so when I saw Huxtable in the kitchen and talking to his son and laughing with Rudy and stuff like that, some of the same stuff I like to do here. We just turn the camera on, just take the picture, you know. But going back to my son, though, he needs to see me do, and he needs to hear me say.
Yes, sir.
Because that's how you see. You see a snake, don't step on that. That'll bite you. Well, if I'm not thorough to tell Linda that, DJ that, see, I'm not warning them about the dangers out there. And see, that's why in the book of Isaiah, we're watchmen.
Yes, we are.
We're way up on the tower.
Man.
We can't go to sleep up there. So as men in our society, and this is going to be my closing argument too, we got to stop falling asleep. Get the NyQuil away from us while we're on the tower, because we got to be watching for pending danger that's coming, and we have to warn our families. And so we have to let them know what's going on, and we have to be sober, and we have to lead by example.
So you actually just segued into a question I wanted to ask.
Good, bring it on.
Where do you think we are today as men?
As men, I believe that we're
and the good and bad.
Well, I believe we half and half. Okay. This is what I mean by this. Half of us is you can see. The other half of us you can't see. Secret lives, not leading by example, doing things we shouldn't be doing. But then we may be going to work, paying the bills, but then are we truly being the leaders that the Lord has called us to be? I think men are hiding. I think men are hiding behind a socioeconomic status. I believe we are hiding behind materialism. Because a lot of people, just for example's sake, we should really be 100% exposed. Who we are in the light is who we should be in the dark. But I think it's about half. You just see half that person, but the other piece that's at the root is the crooked piece that needs to be dealt with, but it ain't being dealt with. So I think as men, we're in a state of hiding for a few reasons. I think as far as our world goes, I think there's a fight against men. I think there's a fight to feminize men. To feminize, the dad ain't there. You see all the statistics, right? We're gonna talk about this Saturday at Dallas Public Library.
Awesome.
But all the statistics suggest that the man is leaving the home. That's another thing that feared me. I read an article back in the Washington Post in 2012 that suggested that the men were leaving the home. So I think what's happening is that mindset is calling men to say, well, if this study says that we're leaving, I guess we might as well go. Instead of saying, you know what, if 6% is leaving and 40% at home, let's add to this 40 and take from the 60.
Right.
But I think a lot of men are taking from the 40 and adding on to the 60, and the statistics are getting worse.
Really?
I think the statistics are getting worse. I was listening to a guy on YouTube doing a deal, and he was talking about 1 out of 4 African American women may get married. Then they'll have kids out of wedlock. And there was a lot of stuff socioeconomically that was entangled in that and that were causing women to have babies but not necessarily get married. They want to have the kids, but not necessarily be committed. And so I think a lot of fathers are in hiding. I think something that's keeping them from being a better father. Let me say it that way. I think it's really time in our society for men to stand up, because when the men stand up in the community, in the school system, in our church, in our society, that's when things are going to change.
So what's going to make a man stand up?
The reality that it's his responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's your responsibility, and it's my responsibility to impact our home, impact our church, our community, and our school system. That is me and your job.
How do we walk this out? So, for instance, I'm that father that has children, but I'm not constantly in their life. The mother's doing, and this is just how things have been going in society for years, that we, as men, we have left the house or left the relationship and put all of the burden, added burden that is, on the woman to be them, as some people would say, be the man, be the wife, or the woman as well, and taking care of those kids as she's going to work, as she's going to school. If I'm that man that's not doing my part, what would you say to me to get me into my role?
Well, first of all, I think a man's got to understand who he is. Remember earlier you mentioned identity.
Yes.
When you talked about Jesus, you said, who do men say that I am? We have to know who we are, what our role is in this life. If we don't know that, then we begin to live as a character, as an actor. We just go with whatever's out there, and we just kind of half do. Because there is an urgency, Selwyn, for men to get involved. Because we're losing our children. We're losing them to TV. We're losing them to social media. We're losing them to entertainment, which is giving them a false identity of manhood.
Right.
False identity of being a father in the home and actually being a great dad, meaning day after day. So the TV is giving us a false sense, thinking we can just have all these babies, have all these kids, do all of this kind of thing, and we just pitch a little money here and there. But that's not what it is, because time spent is better than money spent. It's about being there with these kids day after day. Okay, you and the mother don't get along. Okay, cool. That's still your responsibility. It's still your responsibility to sacrifice whatever it is you got doing as a hobby that's outside of work to see to it that you spend time with that kid, with your children. Because even at the men's summit I was at 2 weeks ago down at the Dallas Public Library, they was talking about the percentage jump when dads are involved with their kids' education, how it reduces dropout rate, how it reduces behavior issues in the classroom with the teacher or with the principal, just because the dad is there and involved with the education of the child.
Hold that right there.
Yeah.
Because I like how you're getting into the statistics of where we are. We'll be right back for another cut of Focus Encounters.